Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about an announcement that came out today about a new show coming to Amazon. Now we all know that Amazon has had a big hit recently with The Boys, and they're looking to capitalize on that and try and launch some other high-profile series. And it's no surprise that they're trying to dabble into other genres. Now, news came out today that they are planning a television series that, or a some kind of a series that is based off of the film and/or story Event Horizon. Now, for those of you who don't remember, in 1997, Event Horizon was a film that was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. It was not received very well. Many people viewed it in a lot of ways as an alien ripoff and things of that nature. The film starred Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. Now, the film itself is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't like it for any kind of quality reasons. It is not a very good quality film, but it has some good notes. The story is not terrible if you're going to dabble into horror. I just think the execution was really, really bad in a lot of ways. And actually, they made him cut a lot of the things out of the film that he originally wanted to put into it, which I think also compounded to the fact that the horror did not hit very well. But now we see that it appears that Amazon wants to greenlight this and they want to make it into a series. And this is fairly high profile. This is not an original concept. They're basing this off of older material, which is a bit different than some of the things that they normally do. The Boys is obviously one of the exceptions, where it's an adaptation of the comic series from Vertigo. But this series is going to be. So far, we don't have any stars to the series. Again, this has just been announced, but we do have news that Adam Wingard, who is going to produce and direct the series completely, at least as far as we know. It's not going to be one of those rotating director deals where we have a few people that direct one episode and a few people that direct another episode, and then you have a writing team and stuff. It looks like he's going to produce and direct the entire thing. And for those of you who don't know Wingard, he has directed films such as Your Next, Death Note, and Blair Witch, and he is currently working on Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, as far as he goes, I haven't seen Your Next. I have seen Death Note, and I know enough about Blair Witch to know it's just a cheapo rehash of the original Blair Witch Project, long after found footage films have died and gone to hell. But this is this doesn't inspire confidence to me because I don't think Adam Wingard, uh, frankly, is a. I mean, he's a better director than Paul W.S. Anderson, but he is not a great director. Although I will say this, he has more horror experience. He's very. It seems like horror is kind of his wheelhouse for the most part, given his filmography. So that's at least a good start. As for the writing team, I don't know exactly who is the writing team for the series. I'm assuming Wingard is involved in that in some way, shape, or form. But I think if you have good horror writers and you have somebody who at least knows how to film horror to some extent, like Wingard does, I think you can make it passable. But uh, if this is going to be pushed as like a huge, horror theme, a huge piece of horror that's going to go on Amazon, then it's not. I'm not really impressed so far. The announcement is interesting though, just because the 97 film failed, and I know it's been, at this point, it's been 22 years since that movie came out. But it is interesting to know that that movie was a failure, and to remake that film as a television series is a little odd. It's kind of strange. Just because I feel like you would go with a more successful property than Event Horizon. Like maybe you do an Alien series or something like that. Something with a something there's a property that's a bit better or a bit more well off. Um, but you know, even if maybe this is something that they knew they could pick up the rights for cheap, and that they knew they could kind of retool it. It probably is not going to look anything like what the movie did. At least I would hope so. And if they manage to balance stuff out, it could be good. The only thing that I'm kind of questioning about this is that what kind of series is this going to be? Because I don't think this is a series you can make last for more than a season or two, just because the story of Event Horizon is very condensed for the most part. I mean, you have these people that go to this ship, that this experimental ship that showed up after being lost for a number of years, and they find out that it went through this, hell dimension and stuff like that, and then they start getting messed up and screwed up, and it doesn't feel like it's something that can last for a long period of time. It feels like this thing's going to run its course in probably a season, maybe two, if you're lucky. And honestly, I think it would do better almost as a mini series rather than a full length series. I think you could cover this in 5 to 6 episodes if you really wanted to, as opposed to a 10 to 12 episode season. Which again, I don't know what they're planning on doing. I don't know what the episode count is as of yet, but that's just my opinion on what this what is a good way to tell that story and a good pacing as opposed to adding fluff, because there's been a lot of television series that have been guilty of that, a lot of streaming series that have been guilty of that, especially over the last few years, of series that just they add fluff to kind of pad out the series. Jessica Jones season one is a very good example of that, where you really could have just ended that entire uh, season in episode, I think it was 8 or 9, but you still had 3 more episodes that just kind of drew it out even more, and then you just got back to the same point again. It feels like fluff episodes are a problem with television series, at least as far as I'm concerned. If it's not integral to the story, or if it's not something that helps a character grow and helps us understand them, and it's not immediately undone afterwards, then, or I shouldn't say that, as long as it's not immediately undone afterwards, then that's fine. But if you're doing stuff that, like, Umbrella Academy did this as well, where they had an episode in that season where it was entirely erased by one of the characters traveling backwards in time. So it was a pointless episode. Like, it had good moments, but it was a pointless episode because then none of it mattered. But and they reiterated some of the points in it in the very next episode because they had to live through that day again. But going back, I don't know. I'm kind of split on this. I feel like again, the movie's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but that's just because it's kind of bad, and I enjoy it a little bit from a comedic sense. But I want to know what your opinion is. What do you think about an Event Horizon series? Are you a fan of the film? Would you like to see it redone and possibly done better in a series format? Do you like the story at all, or do you think it's just a void piece of crap? Put your thoughts in the comments again. I like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?